What's going on, guys? I'm the Coffee Bean GM, and this is going to be the second part of a character creation video that I'm doing for Shadow of the Demon Lord. Now, in my last video, I ended up coming up with a changeling. I'm going to close this out here. Changeling named Ellie, who was a rogue who looked like a female human. She was average and plain looking, but she adopted forms that grant power over others, so she took on very seductive forms, and she speaks very softly and in whispers, so she's very seductive and seduceful, and she kind of uses that to get what she wants. She fell in love with a former person who's not aware of her identity. She had some background in pirate and science. She was a street urchin, or runaway at one point in time. Ended up being a pretty interesting character. So this time around, we are doing a wizard, or a magician, if you will. And, this is one of the areas of the book that is kind of not laid out the best. And I had quite a few players who created up magicians only to realize that they forgot to add spells, or they were having their castings per day was wrong. So I'm going to do a basic video here on how to create a magician and give them a look at how many spells they actually get and how many castings per day that they actually get. So I did a little bit here. I'd already rolled up. I'm going to be doing an orc mage this time around. His name is All Brawl. So we're going to flip open to the orc ancestry thing in this book here and see what we got for the character. So, actually we're going to do it like I normally do. We're going to hop over to the magician first, fill in those details. Well, I guess it'll be easier just to go with starting with the orc. Sorry. I have a preference, a different way of doing things, but this would be the easiest way for people to understand how to create the class. So, orc, let's see. Orc. Alright, creating an orc. So what do we got? So first thing we're going to have here, starting attribute scores. So strength, we're going to scroll on down. Strength is an 11. Perception, strength 11. Agility 10. Yep, already got it. Intellect is 9 and will is 9. Boom and boom. Alright, so already right off the bat, magicians, you can use either intellect or will, depending on what you want to go for or what traditions, but I'll probably be doing intellect here. So right off the bat, I already got a penalty to that, so I'm going to want to fix that as soon as I can. Perception equals our intellect score plus 1. Perception, intellect score plus 1 is 10, so that's done. Defense equals agility score, that is done. Health equals your strength score, so 11, so we're going to pump that up to 11, pump that up to 11. Healing rate equals 1/4, that's already done over here. Size is 1, so we're going to put a 1 here. Speed is 12, that's right over here. And power is 0. Whoops, wrong button. Corruption 0. Oops, corruption is 1 on an orc. Starts with 1. Insanity is 0. Language of person, you speak common tongue and dark speech. So common goes right up here. And dark speech. Dark speech is like your evil races language. And let's see. We're going to hop over to our ancestry right over here. We've already put orc in. To speak, the only one we have is Shadow Sight, which if you happen to see my other video, my changeling had that as well, but it basically allows you to see in shadows as if there were soft light. Alright. And that is it for our basic attributes for all of our orcs. So, orc age is going to be 3 die 6. So we're going to hop over to my dice roller here. Roll 3 die 6. Roll the 7. So my orc age is an adolescent 8 to 12 years old. Now, one thing you keep in mind here is orcs don't live very old, so the venerable adult, the really old fart orcs are only 33, give or take, maybe 40, and that's, you're really old, weathered, and kind of downtrodden. So even though I'm an adolescent 8 to 12, that's going to be more teenage years in human. So I'm going to say, even though well, I don't know if it's he or she yet, but character 8 to 12, we're going to say 12. I'm going to make a little note that it's more like 18 in human, just as give me a reference to build off of with this character. So it's about an 18-year-old in the human. Gender. So gender, this one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go with a male on this one. Let's see, next one is the Orc build. Is a 3-die-6 again. Oops. Roll 3-die-6. 11. Average height and weight. You know, I'm gonna re-roll that one just because I want something a little different for this character. Just for the video, since... Okay, I don't want a 9 or 12, so one more time, I'll just go with it. There we go. Build. I am corpulent. Build form. Corpulent. Alright. Let's see, next one is appearance, and that is going to be a 3-die-6 as well. Oops. 12. So my appearance is ugly. I have thick tusks jutting from my broad jaw, sloping forehead, tiny eyes that lead my skull. So I'm going to put ugly, large tusks, beady eyes, sloping forehead. Alright, so that's my appearance. Next one is my background. It's right here, which is another... Oh, this one's a 1-die-20. 15. You fought bravely for the Emperor and were awarded a medal for my courage. So this is our background. Fought bravely for Empire. Awarded medal of honor. Okay, and the last one is our personality, which this is a 3-die-6. So I got a 10 for my personality, which is you earned a living working in your profession. So earned a living in, I'm going to put a little blank here for the moment because I don't know what my professions are. And we'll do the profession next. So we have 2 professions. I'm going to end up getting another one for my mage thing, but magician, but we'll get to that in a moment. So these, I'm just going to do these 2 randomly. So let's do 1-die-6 is 6, and a 1-die-20 is 12. Poacher or a rustler for my wilderness. So profession, wilderness. I'm going to put poacher. And my next one is a die-6. 1, which is academic, which fits the magician thing. And a 20 is a 20. Academic. So war. Alright. Academic. War. So obviously I have a very decorated orc magician so far who fought bravely for the Empire. He has a Medal of Honor. He's skilled and knowledgeable in war. So he earned a living, I'm going to say, in the military. That only makes sense for this so far. Alright. Core professions. Well, and you know, something I forgot to do when I did Ellie, my changeling, was their interesting things. And this is like odds and then trinkets and weird things. Sometimes it's a trinket, sometimes it's a dream, sometimes it's something else completely that the character has. So this one, he rolled a 1-die-6 to see what table. So we're rolling on table number 4, and just 1-die-20. Table number 4, and we're going to get number 3, which is... interesting. So we're going to hop over to equipment. I have a glass jar containing a strange organ suspended in alcohol. So I have a glass jar that contains a strange organ suspended in alcohol, a preserving alcohol of some sort. Interesting. Alright. So, a good old magician. Flip ahead to the magician. Let's start things off. So, a level 1 magician. I can increase 2 attributes by 1. I know I'm going to need to get intellect up, so I'm going to move that one up by 1. And you know, I'm going to go with strength. I'm going to make a hell of a brutish magician. Maybe uses his powers to complement his sword's arm and his combat skills. So I'll keep that in mind for later on. All right. So that's the first part. Characteristics. I got a health +2. So I'll hop over to health, put that up +2, and put this by 2. And we have power 1. Like I said, magicians and priests gain power, and the other spellcasting classes, this is what grants them the ability to cast spells. Languages and professions. You read all the languages you know how to speak. In addition, you add 1 academic area of knowledge to your choice. So I'm going to put in here, I can read and write both of these. Oh man, now I'm messing everything up. There. So I can, common speech, I can read and write it, and I have another academic, I believe it said. You add 1 academic area of knowledge of your choice. So I'm going to hop back over to the professions here. And what profession in academics fits this character? Local geography. You know, I'm looking at law. Law could be pretty cool. Navigation, magic. Obviously, magic could too, but I don't think he really is highly skilled in magic, being the way the character's taken with this thing. It's just something he dabbles in. You know what? I'm actually gonna go with law. I mean, I think that really fits this character, so we're gonna do academic. Academic law. So he has a little bit of a lawyer in him. You know, I can see this being a higher ranking orc for the Empire army who, you know, kind of, he's already done his time in the wars and he's already been through the steps, and he's kind of higher in ranking now to where he kind of handles the day-to-day activities and the law and the corporal punishments, and, you know, dealing with these people who get out of the way, and, you know, punishing whatever people he's taken in as slaves for his army. So yeah, I'm gonna go with law on that. All right, hop back over to the magician here, and that was languages. Magic. You make 4. Okay, this is where people get confused on the magicians. So we're gonna hop over to here. We're gonna go to magician. It says magic. You make 4 choices, discovering 1 tradition or learning 1 spell for each. So the easiest way to do this is when I have players around a table and I'm doing this, you know, at my tabletop, I give them coins. And here we're going to just put little X marks up here. Okay. This means I got 4 choices. With one of those choices, I can choose to pick 1 tradition, which is like a domain or a school of magic, or I can pick 1 spell. Now, where people get confused is that when you choose a tradition, on top of gaining that tradition, you gain a 0 level spell, so that you have a spell in that tradition to start with. So if I pick, let me flip over to spells here, and you can check out some of the traditions that we got. Let's see. So using intellect, which is what I ended up going with, I think he's going to go with battle. Okay, battle's a good one. So I'm going to take one of these choices off, right? And he's going to take tradition, battle. Now, because I took tradition, battle, that means I automatically get a 0 level spell. Not actually called levels in this game. What are they? They're called something else. Tradition, type, and number. And I guess it's just its number. It's a spell number. But essentially, it's a level. So I got a 0 level spell because I took that tradition. So that was one of my choices. And, you know, looking at these other ones in intellect, necromancy, forbidden, enchantment, divination, curse, conjuration, battle. You know, I think another one that would be really good that I like here is protection. Or, yeah, we're going to go with protection. So I'm going to get rid of one more of my choices, right? I'm going to come down. I'm going to do tradition, protection. Okay, now because I took that tradition, I get a 0 level spell. Okay, now on top of all of this, the magician has an ability called cantrip. Okay, now I'll read that for you because this is, again, this is where people start to get a little confused on what they have. A cantrip. Whenever you discover a tradition, you learn an extra rank 0 spell from that tradition. Rank 0, or rank, that's what they're called in this game instead of levels, but rank. So, because I have cantrip as a basic mage ability, I get an additional 0 level spell whenever I choose a tradition. So we're going to stop up here to the tradition battle, and because cantrip, I get another 0 level or 0 rank spell. And again here, we got another 0 rank spell. Okay. Now, for these two choices, I could, in theory, mark this one off and gain another tradition along with another 0 level spell for choosing that tradition and another 0 level spell for my cantrip. But these two traditions, I think, really complement the character. So I'm going to use these last two choices to give myself an additional spell. And this time around, I'm going to get a level, or a rank 1 spell in this one. And, well, I'm going to hold on to this one for just a minute, just so I can see what spells, to see if there's a different battle spell that I want, or if there's a different tradition, or protection, I'm sorry. Okay. And then, let's see. On top of all of this, I'll have a different spell called Sense Magic, which is my magician spell that I get for being a magician. But we'll get to that in a moment. So we're going to swap over to tradition spells here, and see, what looks like it might complement this character really well. So, battle, huh? Battle spells awaken and enhance combat capabilities. Armed with these spells, battlecasters fight with skill rivaling that of the greatest warriors of the land. They move with enhanced speed, dexterity, strike with uncommon precision, and send foes reeling. So, let's see. Interestingly, if I know spells from battle, I can gain, I can go mad. It says here, if I know spells from the battle tradition, you are at risk of battle madness. Whenever you go mad, you suffer battle madness instead of rolling on the madness table. So I basically kind of go crazy with a battle lust if I dabble a little too much in spells. I go crazy with my insanity. But to go back to the spells here, what do we got for 0 level? We have, looks like there's only 2. There's Augmented Attack and Celerity. So there's only 2 rank 0 spells, so those are the 2 that I get. That was pretty quick. So, Augmented, Attack, and Celerity. And I'm going to swap into Protection just to see what that one has for my 0 levels. So, JK, Protection. And Protection has 2 as well, so we're just going to take those 2. We have Magic Lock. And we have Secure Sight. Alright, so now the real question is what do I want to use these 2 additional spell choices that I have for level 1 spells? So, let's hop back over to battle. My guy's really into the battle thing here so far. So, we have Close Wounds, we have a Mighty Attack, and we have Resounding Attack. Let's see. Closed Wounds obviously just kind of heals up your healing rate, or equal to half your healing rate. Mighty Attack, as part of casting your spells, you make an attack with a weapon. The attack roll gets 1 boon. It can use Intellect instead of Attack. It deals an extra 2d6 damage. Resounding Attack comes with 1 boon. And the target takes damage as normal and becomes dazed. So I'm going to do Mighty Attack. This guy likes to lay waste to his enemies he doesn't really care about himself so much as he does doing that. And I might do Closed Wounds, but I want to see what they have for protection just in case. We have Evade, move up to 4 times your speed without triggering free attacks. Ooh, that's a really good one, actually. And you can use a triggered action to cast this spell. That's nice. Alright. Force Field, a visible force surrounds you. Has 10 health. And you take damage instead. That's another good one. It becomes hidden from all creatures for the duration. The other one is Sanctuary, which allows me to become hidden for all creatures for the duration of the spell. I really like both Evade and Force Field here. Oh man, let's see. I'm gonna go with a Force Field, and that is a tradition protection. It's a rank 1 spell, and it's Force Field. And that used my last option here. All right, so there's the basis of your mage class. You know, I would go through and put all of these into the character spells over there. I'm just going to scoot them down out of the way for the moment. And I'm going to hop back over to my magician to see if there was anything else left that I missed. So, magician. So I put in languages and professions. I already did those. My magic, I made my 4 choices. I put in my cantrip, and I already figured that in. But I'm going to make a little note that cantrip gain and an extra rank 0 spell on learning tradition. And I have sense magic as, yeah, sense magic. Learn the spell sense magic. So I would put in sense magic under my spells, and there's a thing here. Basically, I can know if there's any ongoing magical effects in the area and from what points they originate. I get that. So, all right, there's your basic mage. One last thing I have left is the magician's training. So that is a 1d6. 4. You studied at one of the great institutions of magic, perhaps in one of the 9 cities or at the Tower Arcane that drifts in the sky above Sacris, the Empire's capital city. So I studied at a major college or a major school of some sort. So, background, I'm going to put it right in here. Studied arcane at major institution, I guess. So, you know, and keeping with the concept of the character, I'm thinking this is going to be some sort of military institution of some sort, you know, where they kind of teach like spell swords and characters who combine both their power and weaponry and combat along with that of spells to enhance themselves. And that is the basic. My character doesn't have any quirk or habits for this one. You know, I'm not going to go through all the armor. You already seen how that all worked and everything else. So that's the basic of character and the idea of how a mage works. One last thing that I don't have in this sheet, but should take notice, and we'll take a quick look at it right now. I'll just put it right here, is your castings per day. Now, this is another thing that people tend to get a little confused on, and it's a little different. So, my power is 1, right? Power is 1. So when you look at this little table, there's a little table in the book right here. It says, you know, your castings by rank up at the top and the power. So a power 1 gives me rank, let's see, I'm just going to kind of go down, go over. Rank 0 equals and rank 1 equals. Rank 0 equals 2 and rank 1 equals 1. Okay, this is my spell castings per day. Now, a lot of people tend to revert to some of the other RPG games out there and think that they basically have 3 castings for the day, so they can cast 3 spells and they're done. It's not how it works in this game. What it means is, for my rank 0 spells, I have 2 castings. That means for each rank 0 spell, I can cast it twice in one day. So I can cast Augmented Attack twice, I can cast Celerity twice, I can cast Magic Lock twice, and I can cast Secure Sight twice, all in one day. For my rank 1 spells, I have 1 casting of them. That means I can cast Mighty Attack once per day, and I can cast Force Field once per day. So really, you have 2, 4, 5, 10 spell castings of spells for the day, until I take my long rest and regain my spells for the day. Now later on, you know, like if I get a power, let's say 4, if I had a power 4, it would give me my rank 0 would be 5. My rank 1 would be 2. And then I would have, let's see, rank, we got 2, rank 3, and rank 4. Okay. Oops, wrong one. So this is at a power level 4. I got 5, 2, 2, 1, 1. That means, again, All of my rank 0 spells I could cast 5 times. All of my rank 1 spells I could cast twice. All of my rank 2 spells I could cast twice. And so on. All up to rank 4. All my rank 4 spells I could cast once. So you get a lot of spells in this game. Spells are very quick. Some of them do damage. Some of them do utility spells. There are some in here that do some pretty decent damage and stuff, but they're not as powerful as some of the other RPG games you might be familiar with. They're a little bit toned down. That way you get more castings of them to make more use of them and to get more in character with your mage. And mages really can cast a shit ton of spells, and I think that's really cool. They might not be super powerful, but it gives you a ton of options. And you can go a long time without running out of spells. And let's see. I think that is it for a mage. And I could go from here. You can become sorcerers. And let me take a look at a few of the... I'll give you a list of a few different paths that you could kind of follow through with here. Sorry. Let's see. Experts. Passive... what is it? Power. So I could kind of go from here... Excuse me. All right, I could go into something like an artificer or a sorcerer, a witch or a wizard. Now, I could become anything else, but this is just to give you an idea for the power casting thing. And then you eventually can go into paths of magic, which has things like specialize in something more specific, like an abjurer or a conjurer or a diviner, or something a little more crazy, like an aeromancer, apocalyptist, a geomancer, a hydromancer. You become a mage knight. What in here might fit this character? A Stormbringer might be interesting. Transmuter could be cool. Let's see. Do they have anything for battle specifically? A Mage Knight they focus in battle spells. That's their mastery. Destruction, a Destroyer, that could be pretty interesting for this character. So yeah, there's a lot of different options, a lot of different paths you can take with this. And hopefully this gave you an idea on how to run your mage. And the priests kind of pretty much work the same way. They read a little bit differently, but they work the same idea. They get the castings per day, they get the power, and you build the character the same basic way. So again, any questions, you have any comments, concerns, thoughts, throw them in the comments below. I'll be happy to help you out. So I'm the Coffee Bean GM. You guys have a great day and keep on gaming.